Hello everybody, thank you for risking your lives to be with us today. We're very honoured that you came to this fabulous closed mic set. So the closed mic set features poets who were stars of the Ovale Open Mic over the past year, regulars who we have invited to share their work. Each of the poets are going to read for 5 minutes. Their names are up here in front of Brendan Duffy's lovely poster that we have for the Winter Warmer this year. So I'll introduce each one. Yes, sorry. Great. So we're going to start with May Jeanette Fast, please.
Let me just put on my 5-minute timer. So just like to say, it's my first time ever doing anything like this, so I'm naturally nervous. Usually my poem's a bit lengthy because I tend to kind of spew everything out. But yeah, 5 minutes. So I was hoping to have had a few weeks or days for myself to create this beautiful poem to capture your attention and heart. That didn't happen. Turns out it's not really my style. So yesterday, I wrote this poem last night before going to bed. I had one line stuck in my head, I sat down and I just did it. So hopefully it's good enough. The poem is called 5 Minutes. Oh dear, woe is me. Best put on your bestest shoes. Have you heard the newest news? I've been put on a time limit. I've been given 5 minutes. 5 minutes to cool, calm and collect myself and relax my rickety, ragged, nerve-wrecked breathing. Yes, 5 minutes to tinker these tangible thoughts tactfully and tastefully to tingle on your tongue. So I subtly satisfy as I softly say them. Yes, gently now. I've been asked to read, not to lead their thought into thinking that I am crazy. Sorry, no. Thinking that I am crazy. So I better stop this now, before my beloved ballad begrudgingly becomes vocalized verbal vomit where I won't be able to stop without warning, talking about anything that isn't me. Oh, it's me. No, wait. Oh, it's me. This is about me. I can take my time within the time limit, not take my time. This is my time. So it's okay. I got this. I can do this. Just give me 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, May. It's incredible that you said that off and you just wrote it last night, so well done. Thank you so much. I have some gifts for the readers as well, so I will present these to you at the end of the reading. I will give you yours now in just a moment. But next up we have Roger Gregg. Woo.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. This is a poem I wrote about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's called "The Clown at the Gates of Paradise." St. Peter stood by heaven's pearly gate, where an old circus clown was awaiting his fate. With holes in his hat and a bright red nose, no better than a beggar in tattered torn clothes. A clown with a tear near one of his eyes, who cried when he laughed, and laughed when he cried. Then he heard St. Peter call out his clown name, and he stumbled on up, his head humbled in shame. And Peter took out that big book of life and said, Now, you old clown, let me get this right. For in this bright light, we shall see why you cried when you laughed, and laughed when you cried. You were a loony goon, a bungling buffoon, with pies in the face and twisted balloons. You struggled to juggle a few worthless balls from a bag of old gags through a lifetime of falls. A fool who had failed in all that he tried, who cried when he laughed, and laughed when he cried. Now other clowns made fortunes and puffed themselves up. They won grants and awards, gold medals and cups. Other clowns had power and towers with their name, and TV shows that brought them great fame. And they used their big names to sell little white lies, while you cried when you laughed, and laughed when you cried. No, you were never a loud clown who blew a great trump and treated the circus like a personal dump. Never a proud clown who would brag and boast about the poor souls he had grabbed and groped. You were mostly ignored and even despised, because you cried when you laughed, and laughed when you cried. In the sawdust of sorrow, you planted a few laughs for penniless children who could never pay you back. And you ran round the ring for these tatty exiles with a bucket of confetti, showering smiles. And you fought back their fears and kept hope alive, but you cried when you laughed, and laughed when you cried. Yeah, you were a loser clown, the butt of jokes, stumbling and bumbling for poor homeless folks. And you never stepped on your fellows to climb to the top. Like the sound of your shoes, you were just a big flop. So you died in the rain as you huddled outside, and cried when you laughed, and laughed when you cried. Then Peter closed up that big black book and gave that old clown a long, hard look, and said, now I know why you have a tear on your face. You mourn for your follies, your failures, and disgrace. And looking back, he could see he had failed as a clown. He was turning to leave when his trousers fell down. Then he heard a creak as the gate swung wide. Well, don't just stand there, Peter said. Come on inside. Yeah, you old fool, come on, step on through. If there is a heaven at all, it's for clowns, just like you. A clown with a tear near one of his eyes, who cried when he laughed, and laughed when he cried.
Thank you so much, Roger, for that wonderful reading. I don't know if you are a voice actor, but if you're not, I would suggest going into it. It was wonderful to hear your great poem. Thank you very much. Next up is Adrienne Brock, please.
Hello. I think it's okay. Thanks very much to Paul for inviting me to read, and to all my fellow readers, and to the folks at Ovail for creating such a really lovely space to come home to every time that I can get there. I probably don't have time to read more than one poem, so would you rather hear a poem about the Leaving Cert students that I teach, or something about a pregnancy scare? Leaving Cert students, okay. I don't think that's the better one, but we'll give the people what they want. So my day job is as a secondary school teacher of English, and we're in temporary accommodation in a building that used to be a hospice. So this is about that space. It's called Ghost Story. When you stand close to the black box with a small silver switch, one side marked RTE, the other church, the smell hits you. Some great experiment gone wrong before the holidays. A carton left as a joke, an oversight, a childish test to see what would be noticed, maybe. We theorize about what has happened after the fact. It is strange, but to me the smell is one of fear and babies. When my daughter was small, Every evening she would throw up, more than most newborns. She would scream and could not keep anything down until we figured out what was wrong. Her father and I were covered in curdled milk for the better part of a summer. Even after I returned to work, I would find bits of vomit on my blazers or hidden beneath the collar of a shirt, reminders that, whatever else I might be doing, I was tasked with keeping someone alive. All through the holidays, the building sat, remembering other lives, the dead resting in what was once a morgue, now filled with forgotten papers and lost cutlery. Inside this room, hidden in a cupboard, something that once gave life, something that was taken from a life, began to turn. In quiet and dark, some possibility of sustenance was lost. The stones sat in their places. Outside it rained, or the sun appeared, making everyone remember that spring was on its way. A scripted dedication in stone proclaimed benefactors and politicians long gone, part of some other world hidden in the corners, a past which marionettes my students' days, and I suppose now my own. I suppose we hear them if we listen, in stories, in sayings. Once class has resumed, I continue talking about what revision is, about rewriting, about how to rewrite endings. I say, imagine in this interview, they are characters. The person who asks the question, the person who answers it. The students hold their noses. They take breaks to gasp in the corridor. I cannot remember the moment where the milk was put inside the cupboard, but I know I must have been here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Adrian. That was wonderful. Great, thank you. Next up, we have Patricia Walsh.
This is for all those who've been to secondary school when you thought that having a cigarette was the epitome of cool. So it's called cigarette burns. Following the holy to the back of the gym, this light's fantastic. Maturity becomes coolly ascertaining what is some way sacred. The song of collectively recalling the shots. Made feel rightly real, the stench designer. Addiction not a problem, just a momentous glitch. Spare to donkey work, go for a smoke. Always have a light on hand, purely for love. This trite rebellion, following a suit, mere nuns to garner support for anarchy. To light on rubbish, are rowly designed to choke your collective, expel the associates. Cleaned from an excellent rebellion, not a prominent marker, as if it ever was. You have to bum one repeatedly. It sinks your boat. A closet addiction would murder for more. What to do with his hands, lips, mouth, if not to resurrect a quitter's paradise? Enjoying reverse psychological glories, loved by these betters, finally come home. Murder by stealth, an eventual massacre. Simple growths manifest themselves adroit. I burn cigarettes on a timely jingle. Death by the advertisements lonely abides. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Patricia. It's always great to hear your poems. Thanks a million. Next up is Rosalind Blue, please.
Thanks very much. Thanks so much for having me here as part of this closed mic. The last time I was at the Winter Warmer closed mic was, I think, in 2013, because I remember I was very, very vertigoed. So in honor of the last decade and being here, surviving, I want to do this poem here, which is inspired by Paul Muldoon, and it's called MRI Experience. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Tok, 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 tok. Tuck, grip, grip, grip. Beep, beep, beep. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Tok, 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 tok. Ratatatatatatatata. Brrr, tuck, brrr. Bzzz, tuck, grrr. Tuck, 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 tuck. Grrr, grip, grip, grip. Tok, tok, tok. Bzzzt, beep.
Are you okay, miss?
Repeat. So the next piece I'd like to do was written in the lockdowns, and I was translating The Panther by Rainer Maria Rilke. Breaking the ban. Our bare feet have walked a warm circle on the cold ground of kitchen tiles. Like the panther in the cage we pace, treading towards a future stagnant in the now. With cat's eyes jaded, we blink as we witness the weeds grow, slow as rising swirls of purple smoke. If we could as we would, we'd take our bare souls and dance a circle in the meadows, where we'd light our fire and let the sacred haze rise beyond the pupils of our eyes, beyond the field of vision. And we'd bust that cage 2 by 2 by 2 and break out from the frozen now, break the ban, the circle, and wake the panther's will from its benumbed silence, slip through its pupils' veils and conquer the world again. And my last poem is very new, and it's called Initiation. Breathless from the cycle, my sister and I, after a long ascent, as we pause on the hill beside tall, dark fir trees. Majestic the view over this mountain dale, the sky pure blue. Quiet the air and clear. Voices rise from below, tractor dives in swaying field. Children cheer to their mum, neighbours chat in the bloom. A ball kicked down the path by a little girl laughing, her black dog a happy bark. Each single sound conveyed by nature's amphitheatre. And high above us, spiralling, a pair of mighty buzzards. Embracing the wind, wave wings outstretched, conduct the call of the sky with feathered fingertips. Their proud key echoing across the valley. This is the moment, struck by the light, my first time ever, that urge to write. With no pen nor paper, searching to find just tissue and lipstick to pin this magic down. Kneeling next to the bike, my inner voice shapes my words to such allure, my sister and I both boggle. Wheeling down to the stables in silence, the wind rustling our hair, I'm in awe. Still, floating on that clarity, that feeling, that surge of inspiration, a new poem born, and a poet ignited, burning, hooked.
that wonderful reading, and you really transported us into getting an MRI scan, and it was very wonderful to watch and scary to experience. So thank you very much for that reading. It's great. Next up is Holly Dara Hickey.
It's much scarier up here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Paul. My first poem is called Miasma, and this is to all my fellow insomniacs out there. Miasma. When the sun rolls back, drops over the earth, I stand in the precipice of dark, in front of drizzle-plinked glass, listening to silence descend from starlessness, distilling an extraterrestrial melody. My teeth lock nervelessly to the cadence of fear as something gapes from a recess in my mind. It clings fat wings to every living sound. Sleepers swallow their thunder. Rainpipes clench guts. Palms slick the window. Eyes pull into her drowning pools. To look on a face so unpolished by light tethers her cell to mine. She could float forever in her glassy ocean while my pulse stammers and I ration breath. Thank you. So my next poem is called Mother Wild. It's been published by Swerve magazine. So I found the natural world to be a really powerful healer for me and a source of wisdom over my life, as many of us. So following the loss of my baby girl in 2021, I felt an instinct to wander in the wilderness. I craved to be away from people and felt hemmed in by the four walls of my own home and the surrounding suburbia. I craved the space and energy offered by Mother Nature, which was just what I needed at the time. Mother Wild. I push the streams of hours in breaths, steps along a verdant archery. Thoughts labor like forgotten muscles, surface in the savage somewhere. There is sky space to open and close an animal hurt, flushing from the roots into light. No man-made floors to snag my steps, to pattern madness, room by room. Hurl these cramped and bleeding limbs, ball, rage in solid green. This is my witness. Time, distance have no metric. Here, my compass is my body, bends the parameter of my mind. The trees breathe cold truth, bear the scars of many storms, love and pain in parallel. Throat recalls the pull of metal pendant, dangling, settling into stride. I coalesce a fluttering memory. Let her fly from the blind dark of this indentured mind. Let her fly on gleaming lines of light, still silver striding with my pride. This beacon that binds us, I am her mother. Thank you. I don't know, do I have time for one more poem? Just, yeah, I do, okay. So my last poem is called Cutting Our Teeth, and it's been published in an anthology edited by Victoria Kennefic. So I had my son last year, and what a shock when this little human came crashing into my life, and such a steep learning curve for me and for many parents. Just the exhaustion of the marathon of the newborn schedule and the anxiety of trying to be the perfect parent, which is of course impossible. And almost 16 months later now, I really have come to accept this state of uncertainty and change that comes with having a child. And I see us as a team now, one where one of us isn't always a team player, exactly. But that's okay. Cutting our teeth. I have spun and molded you, my muscles remodeled, repurposed for your new order. We are being tempered in rounds of tears, milk, waste, to the ebb of my blood moon. These are testing grounds where suns rise at night, forgetting, falling between states. I wear you as a second skin. You mule and throw my compass into panic. New space senses are opening. We welcome them, stretching our wings into alignment. Stakes grow tower into your demands. My promises. I can be ambidextrous. I will be more. I am cutting my own, fumbling with blind instinct. I hope I am good enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly, for that wonderful reading. So really powerful. Thank you very much. Next up is Fiona Rogan, please.
Murder. What would happen to the flocks of crows if they all suddenly had to work from home? No travelling for miles to the morning gatherings, forced to self-isolate on lonely tree branches. Would they start feeling blue, inadequate? I'm just a bad crow, I always knew it. Would doomed thoughts take over their souls? Might some of them Google how to be a good crow? When it was all over, there'd be a great reunion. Loud crow socializing as instinct and medicine. Fond crow insults and the best crow banter. Diving and swooping, the wind in their feathers. The affectionate sounds of crow to crow care, regurgitating stories, jokes, dinner. So that poem, that lockdown poem, helped me to articulate what I was feeling during lockdown, which that I was lonely. With the poem, I was able to articulate that. So thank you, poetry. And thank you, Paul, for the invite to be here today to read in front of familiar and new faces. This next poem is the title of a question. The title is a question that I was asked when I started secondary school in Limerick. Are you a raver or a mettler? My new classmates listened for an answer. At 12 years, I hadn't yet chosen a tribe. Adept in silence as survival, I shrugged a non-reply. 1 year later, I brandished 10 whole Doc Martens and skull-festooned t-shirts on uniform-free Fridays. Trading tapes with my new friends, our voices and guitars detuned as we scrawled on our desks and textbooks the names of our favourite bands. Metallica, Panthera, Deicide. Listening to you was like being stuck in caps lock for my teenage years. Headbanging my way through social situations, I kept hidden my inarticulate heart. A growth in shoe size, not consciousness, despite hours analysing poems in English class. We'll take up my 5 minutes. So I live in Ballincollig now, and I like to cycle around, so I have lots of time on my bicycle. And these are some cycling haiku. Stopped my bike to watch the road being slowly crossed, all 9 lives still left. Out in this weather, the sheltering cows eye roll as I cycle past. Prevailing against the prevailing winds, one man and his bike. Sailing along with a following wind, nature's pedal assist. Travelling briefly in parallel lines, a cyclist and a bee. Wonderful to see, no speeding cars this morning. Thank you, snowy roads. Licensed to thrill, risky overtaking from Virgin Media van. If I saw myself as some motorists see me, I wouldn't see me. Cycling home at night, too dark to see the blossoms that fill the air with scent. Bike, a shout from a pram as I cycle past. I'm still not used to being overtaken by OAPs on EVs. A wet cycle home, thumbed my bicycle bell, waterlogged and dull. filled with affection for the little shivering bird that pooed on my seat. Morning, how are you? Words cyclists often hear. People are nice. A peddling parent, child in the child seat, grinning, grinning. And my last poem is Days, after the great Japanese poet Tanikawa Shintaro. He just died a few weeks ago, aged 92. Check him out. One day I wondered, why doesn't everybody write poetry? The next day I wondered, why do I write poetry? The days crowd together, blurring. Am I short-sighted, long-sighted, or both? I struggle with the basics, but find comfort in creating mini word tweets that honour the truths of these difficult days.
Thank you, Fionn, for that wonderful reading. You transported us to lots of different places, and I feel your cycling poems, you should send them to like the Road Safety Authority or something, and they could put them up at intersections. Thank you so much for that. Next up is Antonio de Mare.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Paul. It's an honor for me to be here amongst wonderful poets, and just resonating what Theo Dorgan yesterday was telling. You have already established one legacy here, and with your talented and amazing staff, it's really an honor for me to be here, and also between amazing poets here. I'm gonna read the two poems, and hope you enjoy. First poem is called Winter Sun. The house on the hill wasn't aware of the last dance of the wind. A voice of mother, wet and gently touched by the wood colors. An orange scratch in the sky, from pure white on the horizon line to the light blue. The body of a feeling, it's the tenderness of a rock. Cut as a winter branch, there was enough stillness in the soft rain. The body is killed again, stabbed at the back, without advertisement, twice as the image is valid for two. Wild is the hurricane of the pictures, the eyes are bleeding, but still the meat of the shout is silent. On your lips is painted the belly of the Milky Way. Closer, a life is light as a winter sun. Thank you. And then the second poem is called White Paint. If you bite the wood, a seed will rise. A cloud has enough cotton to become a pillow. Walking over the rainbow. Walking on the street to watch the secret life inside the windows of the strangers. The perfume of the houses, the teapot, the smell of the wet grass, the photos in black and white, anonymous people, anonymous past, still life. Driving my car of time only if I catch the wildest cold. Rolling down, diving in the ocean, where are the highest mountains on our planet. The forest of the thoughts blossoms with every meeting of twin souls. Summer is a bite, winter is a slow and cozy vision. Let the body rest in the kingdom of the wolves. The fingers will touch with delicacy the earth. The snow will paint of white the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Antonio, for that wonderful reading. You have such an ability to take a snapshot of something in nature and transporting us there, and it's lovely. So thank you very much for that. Next up is Angelique Everett, please.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Shauna. Hi, Tech. Hi, everybody, and thank you all for inviting me here today. I tend not to read poetry very often, and however, I talk all the time. I'm originally from Drogheda in County Louth, and one of the things that Cork and Drogheda share is their love for St. Oliver Plunkett. They named a lovely long street after him. However, Drogheda beats trumps Cork when it comes to Oliver Plunkett. We have his head on display in St. Peter's Roman Catholic Church on the main street in the town. Have you seen it? Okay. Great, good for you. So, for those who haven't seen St. Oliver Plunkett's head, I'll tell you a little bit about St. Oliver Plunkett, because I wonder how many times people walk down Oliver Plunkett Street and don't know anything about the man. So St. Oliver Plunkett was canonised, I think, 100 years ago this year, and he was martyred in the 1600s for his faith and treason, executed for treason against the British Crown. His act of treason was the education of all children, as he opened a free school in the 1600s, where the penal laws were in effect in Ireland and Catholic children weren't allowed to receive educations, but he continued to teach and children continued to be educated. He was arrested multiple times and eventually brought to Tyburn and Marble Arch in London, where he was hung, drawn and quartered. And some of his followers or friends tried to retrieve his remains to bring back to Ireland, and all they could retrieve from the bonfire where his remains were placed in was his head. The head was then placed into a tin box and brought to Germany and hidden in monasteries in Germany. And then as war arrived throughout Europe, the head was moved throughout Europe into different monasteries until it eventually found its way back to Drogheda and was hidden in a convent, which the Mother Superior happened to be the great-grandniece of St. Oliver Plunkett at the time. And at the time when his great-grandniece found the head, it had been hidden in the bottom of a grandfather clock for about 80 years. So I used to work as a tour guide, bringing people in to look at the head, and oftentimes there would be staff in the church cleaning the altars and vacuuming, and they would sometimes approach the tour. It could be groups of children or top dollar paying people, and they'd interrupt. So I used to explain that their job first thing in the morning before they clean the altar is they have to brush his teeth. And so I've written a haiku. Saint Oliver's head, they brush his teeth every morn, death-induced bad breath. Thank you. I talk a lot, but usually I speak for other people, and as I work as an interpreter, translator, and sometimes activist. A friend of mine, John Dixon Nugent from Drogheda, he has MS and has it a long time, and unfortunately he is at the point in his illness where he's unable to speak for himself. Even through a Zoom would be difficult. So I'd like to read some short poems by Dixie, because I don't think any of you people here will ever get the opportunity to meet him or hear him in person. And for a long time in Drogheda, he was known as the invisible poet, because he couldn't get upstairs or places. He'd hide in the building and we'd give him a radio mic, but we all looked at the stage. So I'm going to read a couple of poems by Dixie, if that's okay. So, World War I. They called it the Great War. I didn't think so. Young men butchered, flung into piles, discarded rubbish, while the perpetrator's demise may be noble, the sins are written on weathered stones. Here's a good one. I'll end on this one. Magic mushrooms. It's laughable. Green flashes across my peripheral vision. Trees sprout out hands and feet, dancing a jig to the Birds Dawn chorus. My spatial awareness has left the building, parachuting in mirth and madness. Reality ceases when I ingest that strange fungi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Angelique, and thank you to Dixie, and thank you to St. Oliver Plunkett and his head. That was great and really interesting also, so thank you for that. Finally, we have Imasha Costa.
Hi everyone, thanks Will, Paul for having me. Thanks Shauna for introducing all of us and me. And so this poem is called Love Found in Era. It's me falling in love with Ireland, and I'll share it with you. Tap, tap, tap. The rain goes against my window, the world outside trying to invite itself inside. As I sit here in the comfort of the duvet that keeps me warm, while I sit with my thoughts and gently cry and cry until the wails escape my mouth after watching an Instagram reel of Paddington the Bear. The duvet cover on my bed, the green and blue swirls that remind me of spring, was a gift from my mother before I moved to Ireland, far away from my home, my family, my land. A gift that she had held on to since I was 5 because she knew I would be the first in my family to go to university. I would need the duvet covers to keep me warm wherever I went. My first week in Cork City, the airline lost my suitcase, but Mom paid the airline extra to send my duvet and sheets through. A rainy, cold autumn day in September. I had no spare underwear, but I was not freezing my first night in this country. I walked through the streets of Cork City, getting lost at every turn, unable to find my way back home, but I kept coming back to the River Lee. How she flowed and flowed so violently, and I knew that day I found my new home. 5 years later, I'm sitting at a pub with my colleagues, people who have seen so much of the world, people who I respect. With the thickest Cork accent, I ask, who's that fiend, Roy Keane? And they laughed, and I knew Era was my home. With smiles and laughter, I was called a Cork woman. Isn't it strange that I found my home among the people of Ireland? I was always drawn to the country, to the people, to their love for a cold pint of Guinness, and their desperate need to listen and dance to the fiddle. I collected punt coins as a child, the glorious harp staring me down as I counted them out, not realising they were discontinued. I read the tales of Cuchulainn, the Fina and Maeve, and as I slept I dreamt of a place, a land of green, where I would dance with the people of Eire. Ireland is my home now. The people are people I want to fight for. This is my love story with this country, the story of a girl who went searching for a home and found it here in Eire. Thank you. So this next one is something that I wanted to say it out loud to people this week because I've been dealing with anti-immigrant sentiment this entire week after something I wrote. So this is my thoughts, my process, everything that I can share in words. You do not belong here. This land where you are residing, we are full, you're not one of us. I can hear their screaming, it's so loud. All the bones that hide under my skin wants to shatter, all the shrills and scream of people who create the fear of not belonging and not wanting us to live on this land. You're not one of us. Where are you from? No, where are you really from? Not Irish, really, go back to where you came from. My lungs expand, my head falls low. I'm so tired. Tired of hearing the same words over and over again, phrases that echoes through every second person that crosses my path. Does it mean nothing that I joined a society that once too emigrated to lands far, far away from their home? Every day I wake up, I'm told, you no longer belong here. So do I pack up my things into the 2 suitcases I moved here with, my entire life of 5 years, into 2 plastic boxes on wheels and leave? Where do I go from here? Back home to my mother? Or to a completely new landscape far away from here? Or do I stay here and continue, keep my head down, look the other way when they call my name, echo the silence that I want to hear? Or do I stay and fight? I'm tired. I'm so tired. I want the fighting to stop. I want the names to stop. I want to be able to let my lungs not be afraid to breathe, to not look over my shoulder as I walk home from work. When will it end, this hatred towards people like me? People who want to keep working and contributing and falling in love with the country they now call their home. Will it end, this feeling of misery? Do I know when I can finally breathe? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amasha. That was so powerful. I'm like tearing up. Yeah, I'm sorry that you have to go through that, and there's a lot of poison in the world, and it's horrible. So we have to keep fighting for everyone. Everyone's welcome here. And yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you're pure Cork, like. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who read on the closed mic today. You were all absolutely wonderful. It was an honour to get to hear all of your work and for sharing your poems with us. So thank you so much, everybody. You're all fantastic. Thank you very much. Thanks to Paul and Kieran and Ben and Brad and Catherine as well, and Brendan, of course. At 2 o'clock, there is another reading with Sebastian Ravon, Jennifer Horrigan, and John Wedwood Clark. So I'd suggest you stick around for that. Anybody that read on the closed mic, I need to get your autograph. For undisclosed reasons, no. So if you can find me, that would be great. And thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe in the weather and stay strong.